Alexa, stop. A bit of Rocket Man there. Um, so I was sent a picture of the contract that you have to sign to join the Mormon Church, and it's I was saying about it being some kind of legally binding thing. Well, they ensure that they can take 10% of your earnings. It's called the law of tithing. The law of tithing, you know? And yeah, what do we think about that? The law of tithing? Well, to me, it's not uh, compatible with the grace of the Spirit, where in the Old Testament, you have a really prescriptive way of doing things, I feel. Whereas in the New Testament, in the New Covenant, we're told to do things not because the letter of the law says to do a thing, but rather because we genuinely feel the compulsion to abide by those things. And there isn't really a metric, there isn't really a number that you can assign to giving, to generosity, and to charity. You know, to be 10% charitable isn't enough. It's not enough, and it's not. And when I say it's not enough, that's not a quantitative response. That's a qualitative one. To assign that kind of measurement to it. There's my 10%. There's my ticking off my five charitable deeds a week. I'm a good person. Um, Throughout the New Testament, we're told to be generous givers and to give from the heart, and not because we're told to do so, but rather because we genuinely feel, uh, the good to do. As it says in James 1, verse 25, that the one who peers into the perfect law of liberty and fixes his attention there and does not become a forgetful listener, but one who lives it out, he will be blessed in what he does. And in James 2:8, but if you fulfill the royal law as expressed in the scripture, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. In this you're doing well. Speak and act as those who will be judged by a law that gives freedom. I think that's a nice thing to take to heart. Um, and in Romans 13, I love this, verse 8 to 10. Owe no one anything except to love one another. For the one who loves his neighbor has fulfilled the law. For the commandment, do not commit adultery, do not murder, do not steal, do not covet, and if there is any other commandment, are summed up in this: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfillment of the law. And it says in another place, love keeps no like um, measure of wrongs. Love keeps no record of wrongs. I think that's Corinthians 13. So again, attributing a monetary value to grace, yeah, that seems a bit wrong-headed to me. Anyways, I walked in to my school today with the intent to quit. And what did I do first? I think I walked to my classroom. No, I didn't. Maybe I was thinking about walking to my classroom first because the whole thing just feels entirely unpleasant. But I walked into the head teacher's office and she was really busy. She had a lot going on, as you would, running a school. And I thought, I even hate taking the time to explain this, how I feel, but I just feel like it's not right for me to be here. So I tapped her door and I said, "Hi, I need to have a talk that you might not enjoy." And she thought, okay. and I could see her getting all ready for the battle ahead. She grabbed her notebook and she started listing off, just speaking out what was on in her mind. Oh, I've got two teachers off today. I've got this. I've got that. This list of difficult things she has to deal with, and here's another one. And then she said, "No, you know what? I need to talk to you first because I consider the teachers here like my class, so I need to make time for you. You're more important." I thought that's really nice. So she sat me down and she said, "Right, tell me what's going on." So I said, "There's a lot of pressures at home and there's a pressure of the school, and I really want to bring my best, but I don't think that's what I'm doing. I don't think I can operate on the level I'd like to operate on. Um, I think it would be better for me to maybe step back or do less hours or just come at this a different time where I feel uh, like I can engage with it on a level that I'd be comfortable engaging with it on." So, she knows all about the issues with my brother and stuff like that and how stressful that can be. And, she was very lovely in the way that she listened to me and she took notes of everything I was saying. And, in her response, she would, do that thing where you respond to the points that are made and clarify what I'm saying. But I could tell the way she was looking at me and the way she was talking to me. She was talking to me as if I was her son. That came across, and it was something we laughed about at the meeting. She was speaking to me as if I was her son, and she said to me, This is the way I see it. When I think about a teacher, and if I want them to continue in their work, or if I want a teacher in my school, I think, would I want them teaching my children? Would I want them teaching my children?" And she said, "I would want you to teach my children." She said that I bring a lot to the table in terms of my enthusiasm and whatever skill. I forget what she said there. She said, "Are you the finished article? No, but that's why you're here." And then she said something that really stuck with me. She said, "You have a good heart, and you know, you're the kind of person that should be here." And that really affected me. I was like, that's so nice to hear. And she said, because I told her I wanted to just do Monday and then walk away, and she said, "You probably felt like you were going to come in here, tell me what that you were going to stop working here, and walk away feeling like that's you done your bit and you can go." And she said, "I'm not going to let you do that." And I said to her, "Well, then I might want a few days." And she said, "I don't have that gift to give you. I can't give you a few days, but I can support you and I can be there for you." And yeah, and I was like, "Right, okay, okay." So she said all those lovely things. I told her I was done, I couldn't continue. She said, basically, you know, "You will continue." So I went into the day feeling a little bit like, okay, I didn't really get out of that what I wanted. I basically walked in there to quit my job and was told no. So I went about my day. I said, like, I've got the plans for the day and stuff. So I did my day, and it was hard. You're dealing with 25 personalities, and they'll compete for your attention. And then you've got other people looking in your classroom, and if there's a lot of this misbehavior in my classroom too. To be honest, it's quite tough. But everyone's little personality is brilliant, and I do love them all. And I got a lot of compliments because I usually wear a dress shirt with a tie. Well, not a tie, but just a dress shirt. Sometimes I wear a suit, but I just wore this polo top today, and the kids noticed and were like, "Mr. Taylor," like this one wee girl, and I was like, "Mr. Taylor, you look so good in that shirt. Wow!" And I was like, "Thank you. Yep, I needed that today. Thank you." Then another boy came in and was like, "Mr. Taylor, that looks really good on you." It's like, "Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's full marks for you today." Um, so no, they're just a really wee charming class. But yeah, I did my day and it was tiring and laborious. But as I was walking out of the school, hastily, I thought to myself, you know what? If she has that much faith in me, then it's the least I can do to step up. It's the least I can do to show up and to continue. Because that's twice now I've communicated to the management of the school that I'm under pressure and I feel like it would be better stepping back. And that's twice now that they've told me, actually, no, you've got what it takes, you should continue. And so on my way home, I noticed I had a missed call. And so I called that number back and it was the head teacher. And she said, I just wanted to follow up because I didn't catch you as you left. And I told her, you know what? I've had a second wind. If you're willing to show so much faith in me, then it's the least I can do to step up. And I thanked her for being so lovely in her disposition and for being so supportive and for giving me so much of her time in the morning. She sat with me for a good, I don't know, 35 minutes while she was in the midst of her own little crisis, you know? She kind of stopped and it was like I was the only person that existed. And she spoke to me as if I was a son. And if you can't tell the very, strong parallels with, you know, certain biblical themes here, that's what it reminded me of. And her husband is actually a reverend. So I don't know if that kind of influenced that whole thing, but yeah, it just kind of made me think about the Psalms, where people describe themselves being surrounded by wicked ones or armies. And these can be the pressures of the day. Deliver me, O my God, out of the hand of the wicked, out of the hand of the unrighteous and cruel man. For you are my hope, O Lord God. You are my trust from my youth. But you I have been upheld. Sorry, by you I've been upheld from birth. You are he who took me out of my mother's womb. My praise shall be continually of you. I have become as a wonder to many, but you are my strong refuge. Let my mouth be filled with your praise and your glory all my day. I just, I kind of get a feel like we can all sometimes. A lot of the psalms are like that, aren't they? Where people feel the mounting pressures of the day, but we realize that we have this God that won't give up on us. That doesn't just say, actually, you know what, you're right. You're not worth my time. You want to quit? Yeah, you should. You should just quit. That's no. What happens is when you come to God and bear your vulnerability, uh, that takes courage, and that takes a certain perspective as well to actually come to authority, divine or just worldly, and bear your thoughts, your transgressions, your soul. Just be like, well, this is how I feel, and God will then, you know, I think that'll make God happy that you're willing to come and to confide in God. That's part of that relationship with God, isn't it? The fact that you're taking the time to communicate with God, to share your heart. So yeah, I feel like this head teacher embodied a Christ-like spirit today. I don't know all of her beliefs. I know she's married to a reverend, but what I do know is that she showed some love and we were able to share a happy moment over that when it was as if she was speaking to a son. She has a couple of sons around my age, and I just thought, wow, what a wonderful person. Because in my head, I felt like if some new teacher came and voiced these kinds of concerns and was like, I don't know if I can do this, would I actually want them to work for me? Wouldn't I just let them go? They've given me every excuse to fire them. Can't I just push them away? But this person didn't. Their response was, no, we want to make this the richest experience we can for you. You have what it takes. You're not the finished article. You're not. But we're going to get you there. And I think that's the spirit of God. I think there's something to be taken away from this. We can despair about not being the finished article, about finding stresses and pressures. But God is this heavenly father. God has this parental quality, and Jesus is our big brother in all of this too. So we have a great brother and a great father, and I am eternally grateful to that. So I'll continue. I'll continue with my job, and I will always continue with my faith because I believe that God um, is always there for us, and that Jesus is always there for us, and they have our back, you know. And if we're making the effort, that's great. And the fact that God has made such effort through His Son, that unity of spirit, that wonderful transforming ministry happened, and just made this beautiful connection for us all. Yeah. Oh no, that's wonderful. So yeah, no, this is just the theme of this video. Um, I felt like quitting, and I was told no. And that's not to say that sometimes it's not okay to take a step back. I think it is. And if sometime down the line I feel like I have to take a step back, that would be okay. That would be okay. But there's a proper way to do it. And that was something else the head teacher said, you don't just want to make any rash decisions. You want to make sure you go through all the proper channels so that it works out okay. So, yep, that's the point of this video. 16 minutes. I'll cut it at 17. Um, yeah, looking forward to this weekend. I've got some more shenanigans going on. I might try improv. That'll be funny. Might try some improv, and then I might go back to that Mormon church. Yeah. I would never go to a Jehovah's Witness place though. That would just, there's something about the Jehovah's Witnesses that just seems so, I don't know, just wrong. It's not a fan. But Mormonism still intrigues me. Not the tithing aspect. But that's fine. If they want to support their church, they should just call it give us the 10%. They shouldn't call it the law of tithing and try and put people under the law. It should just be called give us 10% because we want our church to continue. I would respect that more than trying to hinge it upon some moral obligation. You have to give us 10%. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do a prop unless anyone wants to fire in some meaty subject matter in the comment section. I think I'll just make it a short and sweet one tonight, and then if anything amazing happens over the course of the week, I'll just make little videos and stuff. Oh, there's my brother. It's not really my brother, it's just someone with a similar name. Have you heard of Israel only the only Israel only view within preterism? I'm curious of your thoughts if so. Sorry, if you're wondering why I said there's my brother. Oh, not really. It's because my surname is also Taylor. But you are a brother, of course, if you're a disciple of Christ. Yeah, have I heard of it? I've heard of it. I'm not all that knowledgeable on it. I can't tell you all the ins and outs of it. No, Israel only view of preterism, so that it was confined to Israel only. Yeah, I can see where you would get that idea from. I really just like sigh all that kind of stuff. Like to the Jew first, and then the Gentile. That Sid Roth kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like I just find it really ugly. It's like we're told by Paul that a Jew isn't one who is one outwardly. A Jew is one who is circumcised of heart, not of flesh. So to be a Jew, it's not really about it's not really about genetics or your phenotypical expression. It's about your relationship with God, with your heart. The Gentiles being the Israelites scattered abroad. Yeah, yeah. Nah, because you don't really get that idea that the Gentiles are the Israelites scattered abroad, So the ministry of Christ did have a very specific Israel-centric aspect to it. But here's something to take into consideration too. And this is a weird one. I don't know if I brought it up in a previous video, but when I think of the the Christmas story, the Nativity, right? And you have these wise men who follow a star, and their map, so to speak, is astrology and astronomy. And these are wise men, and these are people that bring gifts. You know what I mean? I think I did make a little point about that, and I thought I was. My comment was, is this some kind of aspect of inclusion in what Christ is fulfilling? Because it was C.S. Lewis. Not that that makes it important, but C.S. Lewis said that it would appear as if Christ is the fulfillment of Judaism and paganism, and in a lot of ways, you can see the truth in that, can't you? You know. So is that an aspect of that? Because why include it? Because you don't read the Bible and read it that aspect of Christ's life and think to yourself, "Oh, here comes the terrible people with the gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Here comes these awful pagans." You don't. It doesn't come across that way. You know what I mean? It comes across that these are some sage, wise people that just come out with these gifts for a king. So they're literally giving gifts to a king. So then, what can we infer from that? That these astronomers, that these astrologers are looking at this child as their king, and they come bearing gifts to this child to signify, the inauguration to come. That's wild, right? That is so wild. Why would you add that detail? Why would you make it more complicated like that? But I love that it is. I love that it is made more complicated like that, you know? I think that makes it a very intriguing story. I'd like to read more about these wise men and what made them go to see the newborn king. So yeah, I don't believe that the Gentiles, uh, what are being referred to as Gentiles, are Israelites scattered abroad, because we do see such incompatibility between the Gentiles and the Jews, and we see that it's a point of contention between the apostles as well. Where Peter in one point is a little beside himself about some of the eating habits, and Paul is too. Yeah. There we go. There we go. High Sonic Grace. Yeah, so Jesus came only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Yeah. So maybe the wise men were descendants of Abraham too. Yes, there's a possibility there. There's a possibility. Um, but they certainly weren't practicing. Well, I can't say with certainty that they weren't practicing Jews, but we don't get the impression that they're practicing Jews. I mean, it says, well, it does say in the Bible to be careful not to worship the luminaries in the sky, because they're just created things, they're not gods. But that's not to say these people, these astrologers, were making that mistake. Yeah, but but the problem there, Dan, is that I just feel like it's a lot of speculation. Yeah. Well, why not? Why can't we? Why would maybe we're all Jews then? We're all Gentile Jews then, because Adam and Adam is like really the granddaddy of them all, and we're all descendants of Adam then, eh? So why would not all just Gentiles that are these dispersed Jews? No, I don't. I really think there was a contrast between, you know, and it goes without saying almost in parts, because we have these people going out to the far reaches of the earth, because they preached the gospel under all creation to all creatures, didn't they? So that's not a small confined group, and it's never put out there in the Acts of the Apostles that, only people I want to listen to this are people that are Jewish. If you've not got your ancestry DNA kit, if you've not got your 23andMe results through, you better not step up. Okay, I really don't. I really don't see it. I think it's a lot more inclusive, because remember, the imagery we're given about vines and all the rest of it, and roots and trees and stuff and branches and all that. about how some branches are cut out and then others are put in and all the rest of it. If it was all from the same tree, then there would be no need for all this cuttings to be taken and all the rest of it. Um, but we hear about how um, other people have been included into this too. Um, yeah, Noah was a preacher of righteousness. The northern kingdom was cut off but grafted back in. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I just feel like it goes very far. I feel like it expands out, into Asia Minor and all the rest of it, and the fact that we're told that it's preached throughout, to the whole world, to the ends of the world. Um, I just feel like then, um, the good news comes to everyone. We do read that the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of God and His Christ. So that again, we have this big umbrella and not just this particular column of like, well, it's uh, it's Jews and their uh, diaspora. Um, okay. Oh yeah, First Thessalonians 2:11-12 kind of touches on what I was talking about with that teacher, that head teacher. For you know that we dealt with each of you as a father deals with his own children, encouraging, comforting, and urging you to live lives worthy of God, who calls you into His kingdom and glory. It's a nice thing there. Yeah, the end was in AD 70. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the main takeaway for me is that the end was in AD 70. And I did again, like I expressed in my preterism video, Jesus of Nazareth and preterism. I understand the contention. I understand why people see the incompatibility because what they thought was going to be this picture of the end, where people live as old as trees and all the rest of it. Suddenly they're thinking, wait, people don't live as old as trees and bad things can happen. But that is the nature of the physical world. There's, you know, the spiritual world is its whole own landscape. Yeah, that's if anyone else has anything to throw in there, then we can maybe deal with that a little bit. But I think, yeah, I'm happy to make this like a half-hour long video. I just wanted to share that little story from the day because I feel like there's something in that, and we can take heart from that. Um, Goodness knows I need to take heart from that. I need a weekend to organize things a bit better in my room as well. I've got so many files and folders and papers and all the rest of it in here. Um, yeah, guys, once again, just thank you for your input. Um, it's Every week's going to be a bit of a tough week, isn't it? And especially if you're in a new position or a new job or some new experiences are happening in your life, things can get a bit stressful sometimes, and it can be unpleasant. But that's just the nature of life. And along the way, we're gonna, we're gonna suffer. We're gonna suffer a bit, but that's just the way things are. Something else I was thinking about today too is that this is not to be morbid. I'll end it on a sunny note, but on a morbid note. And as I was thinking about my modus operandi and why I do the things I do, and why I'm going to do the things that I intend to do, is that ultimately we all have to do something that we're not so familiar with, and that's to depart from this life on earth. Uh, and whether that comes in gracefully or if we get taken out in some kind of cartoonesque Roadrunner type situation, Wile E. Coyote and all that, then it just seems to me that if we have to have this ultimate experience of transition, then we should embrace transitions in our lives, get familiar with the transitions, because a lot of people say the most difficult thing people can do is just to give up your um, connection to this world. Like, let it go, this physical world, just to try and let that go. And I feel like that's something we should be practicing our whole life because we're conditioned to want to keep things and hold on to things. And this is mine. I'm seeing it with the kids. It's mine. I want a shot. Where we grow up with this kind of clutching and grabbing at things and filling our storehouses with grain and treasures and all the rest of it. But where your heart is, there also is your treasure. So we should be putting our treasure up in heaven, and our heart should be guided up to heaven. I know that language might sound a bit archaic, but that's just the way it came out, up to heaven. Um, but I just feel like that's the way to go. So try new experiences, not necessarily crazy new experience. I'm not asking people to go out and trip in LSD and stuff like that. I'm just saying that if there's an opportunity in your life that you might feel a little bit uncomfortable in, that's not always the worst thing, because we all have to go through great transitions in this experience. And the more familiar and accustomed we get to transition, you know, like that idea of like dying daily, you know, it's that those little deaths, those little things you're giving up, until ultimately you're not grounded in this world. I'm not saying not grounded in this reality. You need to know how to negotiate this reality, but you're not, this isn't your foundation. The ground beneath your feet isn't your foundation. Christ is. That's the note I'm going to end on. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all. All the best.